You made it to level 2, deeper questions leading to deeper answers. I'm Tomas Garza, and I'm here to help you decide to transform. I'll be setting the pace for the process to support your unfolding. Learn and commit to a practice that brings simplicity and an awareness of what is ready to be released. Join me now and allow the experience of a deeper sense of love. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Decide to Transform. I'm your host, Tomas Garza, and it's great to have you here with me for what is unbelievably here, Season 5. Yeah, right? Season 5 of this podcast, which began as a live radio show in November of 2019 on Om Times Radio. And for 6 months, this was a live radio show with dogs barking, with doorbells ringing, even with a train whistle in the distance, which really wasn't very distant because it was only a couple of blocks away. So with all of that, this show began. And since then, I've been pre-recording podcast style, and I'm happy to rejoin you. Now, I say rejoin because I've taken a break since November of 2021. Today is February 28th. And for the past few months, 2022, by the way, 21, 22, 23, right? For the past few months, I've been taking a much needed break, and I'm happy to return to the microphone here for you. And what I'm going to do here in Season 5, and possibly from now on, I don't know, because this podcast has had many, many iterations. It has had many lives, and to think that I'm already on Season 5 is mind-blowing. But I'm going to come to you with a series of shorter solo episodes. You'll notice as you listen to some back episodes that I have interviewed a number of people, visionary thinkers and leaders in the fields of spirituality, personal growth, personal transformation. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you who may be listening, who have been my former guests, and for all of the listeners. I have learned a great deal from all of you, and you can go back and listen to all of these back episodes. Particularly seasons 2, 3, and 4 are heavy with interviews. Even season 1 has a couple of really, really wonderful conversations in it. And it's time for me to take a different tack, hence the break from November until now, which is the last 4 months. And it's time for me to start showing up and speaking from my heart on spiritual teachings. Pure and simple. I'm a spiritual coach and a teacher, and I work primarily in the modalities of Soul Path and A Course in Miracles. Now, I'll have separate episodes about both of those, many, many episodes that you'll be able to learn about, and I'm happy to talk about from my own experience. But today, I just want to lay the groundwork for not only Season 5 in this podcast, but also for my own work in general. Because as I teach, as I take the microphone, as I turn the video camera on and record, as I share my experience with all of you, what I find is that there are some themes coalescing. And I think this is always the case. There are some themes that are showing themselves, and I want to talk just for a few minutes today about one of those. And that is simplicity. Pure and simple, simplicity. Spirituality is not as complicated as we make it. In fact, we can say that about all of life. can't we? When we're really deeply honest with ourselves, we realize that all of the psychodrama, all of it, all the bullshit, all the crap we made up. We don't have to be upset over the things we're upset about. But as we all discover, and I've, of course, discovered as well as all of you have, sometimes we're on autopilot, aren't we? Sometimes we're upset and we don't even know the reason why. We complicate things needlessly. And in truth, spirituality, what we actually call spirituality and spiritual practice, is very simple. And this will be a theme that I talk about throughout in probably every podcast episode from now on, in one way or another. Who says teachers don't repeat themselves? I repeat myself. Spoiler alert. Because it might be the 200th time that someone hears something that it really sinks in, that it really compels you to take action and to apply that idea in life. It may be the 2000th time. Who knows? I don't know. So I'm recording and broadcasting, and you're hearing it. So spirituality comes down to a choice, the power of choice, the power of decision right here in the present moment. And we have only one choice. We have only one choice, even though the world seems to present us with billions, billions. And doesn't it? When we walk down a grocery store aisle in many parts of the world, we see many choices. We see 80 different kinds of ramen noodles. We see hundreds and hundreds of vegetables. There are dozens of different brands of spaghetti, for example. The list goes on and on. We seem to have many choices, but in truth, in spirituality, we have one. Just one, and everything else is a derivative of that. So, depending on your spiritual background, you could talk about this in a number of ways. This one choice is common to all of us, no matter what your background, no matter what your walk looks like, your spiritual practice. Perhaps you have one tradition that you practice, perhaps you have dozens, and perhaps you're not sure and you're looking and experimenting, seeing what you connect with. That's a great place to be. That's a great place to be, by the way. We have a choice between love and fear. You could characterize this as a choice between God or the ego, light or dark, self, your higher self with a capital S versus lowercase self, life or death, possibly. These are some of the ways that you could characterize the one choice that we have in the present moment. We can't make this choice in the past. Past is gone. And we can logically say that we can't make it in the future either, because the future has not arrived. Tomorrow is not here. We have only the present moment, and our choice in the present moment governs the rest of our experience, doesn't it? That much we can all agree on. If we choose love or loving or forgiving thoughts in the present moment, our experience from that moment on is colored by love, by loving thoughts. If, on the other hand, we choose fearful thoughts or attack thoughts, call it whatever you will, our experience is characterized by dualism, suffering, and opposites. That's the world we live in. The ego is simply a mistake. It's a mistake, and we're listening to the ego, our sense of separation. We're simply listening to the wrong teacher, the wrong voice, so to speak. You listen to the voice of love, right? And it's a whole different story. Take, for example, someone that walks out of their house. Let's say, for example, I walk out my front door right now, and I'm actually looking at a park as we speak in Phoenix, Arizona. And yes, by the way, it's a nice sunny day. Yeah, it's going to be nice and warm today. Anyway, that's beside the point. If I walk out for the sake of argument and approach the people that are walking their dogs in the park right now with a smile on my face, and I say hello and good morning, I'm far more likely to get a hello, a smile, good morning, a good vibe, in other words, in return. It's natural, isn't it? Now, if I went out there and started cursing at them, telling them to pick up the dog shit or else, right, saying mean, nasty things or scowling, then what's the reaction going to be? Oh, they might tell me where to go with that, where to stick it, so to speak. That would be one scenario. Another scenario is they just avoid me, walk away, and think, what an asshole. It's a simple example, but it's illustrative, isn't it? It's a real world example of how we affect one another, how our energy, what we're choosing, affects other people and our own experience. It impacts all of our experience. So, the question that we have to ask ourselves, and I'll just leave this short episode with this, is what are you choosing in the present moment? Is it love or is it fear? Spirituality is simple, it's about the choice that we make right now. All right. This is, of course, as I mentioned at the outset, the first of many shorter solo episodes. Now, I'm just as capable as any teacher of talking at length on these subjects, but I'm inspired to keep it simple because, in truth, it really is simple. So, if you're so inclined, if you are interested in some longer videos, that's an audio and video format, I invite you to check out my YouTube channel. It's Tomas Garza, and it's Tomas, Tomas. The A has a written Spanish accent mark on it. Garza. It's my YouTube channel where I have been recording for over a year a series of videos all on A Course in Miracles, which of course I'll talk about on this show. It has had a profound impact on my life. That's an understatement. But you can see all of those videos up to this point there, and I'm adding to them every day, in fact. And you are welcome, of course, to follow me on Facebook or on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Tomas Garza Teacher, all one word. I'm very active on there, and Facebook for social media. So you're welcome to follow me there. And I do want to leave you with an invitation to ask any questions that you may have. Now, this show is hosted on Podbean, and I invite you to follow me there. I invite you to make comments or to email me with questions. Tomas, Tomas, at tomasgarza.com. That's my email address. And I'm happy, by the way, to take listener questions. While I'm not going to be interviewing during this season of Decide to Transform, I am always curious as to what's coming up for you, because I'm curious as to how I can help, how I can serve as a guide, as a teacher, as a coach or counselor, in whatever way. Because the more of us that show up in this manner, the better our entire collective experience is, the more peaceful the world, the more sane, the more healed, the more healed, and the more loving. And that's my goal. So I invite you to tune in to all future episodes and catch the back episodes as well. Some beautiful interviews here on Decide to Transform. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will speak to you the next time.